What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another fantasy football mock draft for you back on FantasyPros here. We've got a 12-team full PPR mock, and we will be selecting 8th overall. Our roster, 1 quarterback, 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. So that's pretty much all you need to know. Let's get into it. And while we wait for this thing to load, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. And most importantly, let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree with these selections? What are your thoughts on the team we put together, the strategies that we end up using, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will make sure to answer them all. And in the meantime, make sure to keep an eye out for our 2022 ADP Fantasy Football Draft Guide that will be dropping soon in June. More info on that to come. But for now, let's get right into this thing. And just to quickly go over the picks that have been selected so far, you see Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey, Eckler, Najee Harris. I have zero problem with those first 4 picks in full PPR scoring. Then Cooper Kupp, then Travis Kelce. I do, however, have a problem with that. Kelce at the 106. Yes, Tyreek Hill is gone, but look, I say don't draft a tight end in the first round, let alone draft him in the middle of the first round. In my opinion, the top 2 tight ends, Kelce and Mark Andrews, should be going towards the end of the second round. Yes, I understand it gives you a positional advantage, but you got to hit the running back position that early on. Afterwards, you see Dalvin Cook off the board. So what that allows us to do here is go with somebody like either a Joe Mixon, a Derrick Henry, or potentially go with a wide receiver of our own. Go with somebody like a Justin Jefferson. So honestly, usually speaking, I'd be taking a running back here and be going with somebody like a Derrick Henry or a Joe Mixon, probably even a DeAndre Swift. But you know what? Let's mix it up a little bit, because I feel like pretty much the majority of mock drafts that I've done, unless they've been a 0 running back strategy, has involved me taking a running back in the first round. I'm not going to do a 0 running back strategy here, but I will take a wide receiver in the first round. And that wide receiver is going to be Justin Jefferson. We're going to have, a ways to go in between our next selection. And I know there's going to be probably a running back run, but I want to see how we can circumnavigate kind of these waters and see what happens, whether we get lucky or not. And I mean, obviously right now we get very lucky because I see who's still on the board, but let's see why we got lucky, because after our Justin Jefferson selection, you see Joe Mixon, no problem. Then CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb should not be the 3rd wide receiver off really any big boards, unless like you're talking dynasty, but no, we're not here. This is pure redraft. That's the name of the game. Then Mark Andrews, we get lucky there again. Way too early of a selection. 2 tight ends in the first round. That's bonkers. And then Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams, I've said this before, the guy doesn't belong in the first 2 rounds, let alone in the first round. Then DeAndre Swift, I don't mind that. Then you see Diggs, Jamar Chase. We get very, very lucky here. And then Alvin Kamara. So I would have loved either Kamara or Derrick Henry to go our way, and we kind of get that wish. I'm going to go with Derrick Henry here. Yes, I love Aaron Jones as well, but let's again mix it up here, go a little bit of a different strategy. You guys know how much I love Aaron Jones already. No need to, further solidify that point. So let's just go Derrick Henry here. If it wasn't Henry, I love Aaron Jones. So that's the way we're kind of going to handle this thing here. And then I think we kind of get lucky again in the 3rd round, because I still see Saquon Barkley available. But let's quickly look at these other selections after we went Derrick Henry. So we immediately have Jefferson and Derrick Henry. I think that's a very, very good start. Top-notch running back and a top-notch wide receiver. So then we get Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel, Leonard Fournette, Tyreek Hill. So Aaron Jones continuing to get disrespected. Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, a 2nd-round selection. That is bold. And then a huge run on wide receivers that pretty much I kind of all hate, other than Keenan Allen and Mike Evans. Deontay Johnson with a quarterback that's not going to just hyper focus on him, he's going to decline. A.J. Brown with Jalen Hurts is going to decline. T. Higgins, I think he's going to be a little bit too up and down. Jamar Chase is the main guy. Brendan Cooks, I just don't trust the quarterback situation in Houston. Then Josh Allen. So what does that mean for us? We can go wide receiver, but I do think there's kind of been a drop off at the position. I do like Michael Pittman, as a potential guy. Kyle Pitts, I think he's overvalued here. I'd rather have George Kittle. So that's just me. And that means we're going back to the running back position. I think the highest upside guy here for now, without question, is Saquon Barkley. I'm going to go that way. And then, we've got Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley on the squad. I feel very, very good about that. So just to pull up our roster, I did see some of these picks that went afterwards. We did get sniped on a couple of players. So right after Barkley, you see Jalen Waddle, Kyle Pitts, Antonio Gibson, and George Kittle. So Kittle doesn't make it to us. DJ Moore gets selected. Josh Jacobs gets selected. And Michael Pittman gets selected as well. I was hoping we could potentially get Pittman, but you know what? Look, it's the 4th round. We already have, I'd say, 2 pretty good running backs. Maybe you have some question marks about Saquon Barkley, so you want to see us add some depth. No problem. That's exactly where my head is at as well. I'm not going Metcalf. I'm not going Cooper or McLaurin. I'm going to gamble and see if Marquise Brown or Allen Robinson or Mike Williams can fall to us. And instead, I'm going to go yet another running back here. I'm going to go with Ezekiel Elliott. I still think he has one good year left in Dallas. I think a lot of the reason why Tony Pollard got some run last year is because Zeke got kind of banged up early and played through it. But fully healthy, I think this is still the Ezekiel Elliott show. He was, a top 10 guy last year. I think he can do it again. So, maybe going with some guys that are going to be, being retired soon as far as top end fantasy running back options and Barkley, Henry, and Zeke. But for 2022, I think we'll be just fine. See, we even have Travis Etienne here. So we could have gone another wide receiver, honestly, and then gotten Etienne, who, I would love. These other players, Cam Akers, Breece Hall, then run on wide receivers, Metcalf, Cooper, Chris Godwin, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. So you see those quarterbacks. There goes Darren Waller, McLaurin, Michael Thomas, Cortland Sutton. So now we could go ETN, but I'm not going to get too cute here. I'm going to go with the guy that I absolutely love at wide receiver, a guy that I think is going to have a very, very safe floor. To me, that is Allen Robinson. Then if we can also get Marquise Brown in the next round, or potentially maybe Travis Etienne, I would be very, very happy. So the way this thing goes is after Robinson, you see Mike Williams, Chase Edmonds, A.J. Dillon, Hunter Renfrow, Juju, Lamar, Joe Burrow, and Dalton Schultz. So a run on quarterbacks and a tight end selection really helps us here. We could go wide receiver, or we can get yet another running back to, give us even more depth to that position since, again, you might say you have some question marks with guys like Barkley, guys like Zeke. Okay, noted. So right now, the top choices that I have are, this is how I'd rank them: Etienne, Marquise Brown, and Rashad Bateman, guys that I really, really like. We do have running back depth, but I do think there's a huge drop-off afterwards. All these guys are kind of similarly ranked, but I think there's a better chance that we can, get a Rashad Bateman to fall to us than a Travis Etienne. So I'm going to go with Etienne here. I will say Kyler Murray is also somebody that I would be considering, but I know I can find success in the quarterback position in later rounds. So I'm going Etienne here. I really like that pick. Let's see what happens if, there is a cleanup on all those guys that we mentioned. And, well, there is. That was kind of to be expected because, look, after all, we did have to wait almost, double-digit picks in order for us to be on the board again. So you see Mooney, you see Singletary. There goes Hawkinson, a tight end I would have liked. There goes Kyler Murray. Elijah Moore, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Brown at the end of the 6th is tremendous value. Jalen Hurts. There goes Rashad Bateman in the 7th round. Even better value. Amon-Ra, DeAndre Hopkins, Miles Sanders, Russell Wilson, and Devonta Smith. hey, Hopkins going after Marquise Brown. Finally, that's the case. That's how it should be. But looking here at some other wide receivers, we have a stud in Jefferson who can finish as the number one guy. And then Allen Robinson, I would say a very, very safe play there. So, I'm looking at tight ends. I can wait at this point. Wide receivers, I'm looking at high upside guys like a Gabriel Davis, guys like a Brendan Ayuk. You know, right now, I think afterwards we can kind of wait. You guys know I like Alan Lazard, but uh, we can also potentially take kind of a flyer on Drake London. But I just don't love the idea of Marcus Mariota throwing him the football. I think he's very, very talented, but I just don't love the situation there immediately for him to succeed as a rookie. So, I'm probably going to go either Gabriel Davis or Brendan Ayuk. I'm going to go the way of Brendan Ayuk probably because, if something happens to Deebo Samuel, I think Ayuk is kind of out of the doghouse. So I like that situation there. And then let's see what happens afterwards. I imagine we're going to see some quarterbacks. I think this could be a good time for us to go tight end. So Dallas Goedert is still there. Zach Ertz is still there. Quickly looking at the draft board to make sure nothing crazy happened. You saw Tom Brady go. There goes London, Damian Harris, Dak, Gabriel Davis. So how many of these teams, kind of ahead of us have a quarterback? Pretty much all but one. And as long as Matthew Stafford isn't the next highest, well, he is. So actually, this might be a good time to take a quarterback in Matthew Stafford because I don't want to get sniped here by, this team. So I'll probably go Matthew Stafford here, kind of pair him up with a Allen Robinson. So let's do that and then figure it out at the other positions at tight end afterwards. I think we'll still have some decent choices. Well, actually, both Goddard and Ertz go, but I'm not too worried. I wanted to get a very, very safe quarterback in Stafford. There's upside guys that I absolutely love, like a Derek Carr or, a Trey Lance once he gets actually named as a starting quarterback. But, we can wait on those guys later. So, we were right. Deshaun Watson was the next quarterback to go to that quarterback needy team. So now we can go back to adding either running back, wide receiver depth, tight end. I'm looking at the guys. Dawson Knox, I guess, we'll do it this way. We will add Dawson Knox as one of our picks, but first we're going to go with Allen Lazard, a high upside guy that I like at wide receiver without Devontae Adams. I think Lazard is a nice play there, some nice upside, kind of a dart throw guy, and at this point, I really don't mind it. So let's add Allen Lazard and then see what this board looks like afterwards. We've got 3 more picks to make. Man, there was a run on tight end. Well, I say run, but there was a selection of a tight end in Cole Kmet. I was hoping he could fall to us. It's all right. I was more than anything just going to use Cole Kmet as a double up on Dawson Knox and then add Kmet there as a potential breakout. So instead, we will just go Dawson Knox at the tight end position here. So to make sure, nobody gets too cute. He's in a high upside offense, so I do like that. He has that going for him. And, the worry there is touchdown regression. I definitely could see that. But, we're going to add here at this point in time, I'm going to go with 2 high upside guys at quarterback and then at tight end that I really like. I've been telling you guys about Derek Carr. I think he is in store for a top 10 season with Devontae Adams in town. So I'm going to go with Derek Carr. Aaron Rodgers, he's probably the safe pick, but I've got Stafford already. So I'm going to take a little bit of a flyer on Derek Carr. And then hopefully I'm going to make one last tight end selection for you guys that I haven't done too often. And that's going to be, unless he's been selected, David Njoku for the Browns. He is still there. And I think obviously the Browns investing in him, with however many games, this is going to be the key that Deshaun Watson plays. Then Njoku can have some really nice upside. Now, up until then, he's really, in my opinion, kind of a bench guy, but I feel all right-ish with Dawson Knox. We've got some depths to potentially turn into tight end trade bait if, that was the way we go and if this was a real roster. So I'm curious to see the draft grade we get here. We'll probably get knocked a decent amount for tight end, but we actually get a B minus, which I don't mind. I do think we're kind of in the B range. We have some tremendous running back talent. In my opinion, all Henry, Barkley, and Zeke have top 10 upside, and then ETN is kind of that PPR guy without James Robinson because of the Achilles. Wide receiver, I love that, we got Justin Jefferson and Allen Robinson. The depth afterwards, there is a drop-off. We could have, gone with a Bateman first instead of like an ETN or something like that. So potentially something to nitpick. But I just love our running back depth. I always say running back is the most important position. Then we've got one high upside guy in Njoku. We'll see what happens with Knox. We've got a very safe quarterback in Stafford and somebody that I like in Derek Carr. So yeah, I'd probably give this a low to mid B grade. The tight end position could be better. Our depth after our 2 stud wide receivers could be a little bit better. But either way, hey, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I wanted to make this a little bit of a different approach, going wide receiver first in somebody like a Justin Jefferson. And I think ultimately it kind of worked out. We did get lucky at some certain points, but at the end of the day, that's the name of the game. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Again, let us hear it in the comment section. Along with any other questions you guys might have, we will do our best to answer them all. But in the meantime, we'll see you guys in future videos.